Good morning, you wonderful YouTubers. Welcome to my channel, Tiger Rose Rides. Today you find me on a wonderful, glorious, sunny Tuesday morning. I'm going to head up to Portsdown Hill. Ignore my sat-nav there. I did put in a random route which I was going to follow, but I got about, I don't know, a couple of miles into it. I thought, nah, so I'm just going up Portsdown Hill for a cup of tea. So I'm going to use this little ride up there as an intro. What have I been up to this week? Well, I can't remember what it was, maybe the weekend. I went out for a ride with my oldest boy and his mate Callum. Nice ride it was, lovely ride. Just up to Loomies and back. We had breakfast and everything, very nice. What else? Nothing much really, to be honest with you. It's been one of those weeks where you do lots but you actually do nothing. Very strange. Because I live alone, obviously I had housework to do. Oh God. But yeah, it's all good, all good. This week's history is going to be on the Montgomery Motorcycle Company. Produced their first bike in 1913 and lasted till 1939 when the war broke out, at which point they collapsed. But anyway, more on that later on. What's going on? Not a lot really. I'm still loving this bike, I really am. It just gives me everything I wanted to give. Currently we're going up a fairly steep hill and it's having no problem at all. Absolutely no problem at all. I do think the decats and the DNA filter have made a difference. How much of a difference? Oh, you bugger, stay there. Yeah, how much of a difference I don't really know, but it has definitely made a difference. I do seem to have that little bit more get up and go when I want to go up and get. But yeah, got Fort Nelson to my left here with a massive Great Moor to my left. Just ahead is, I don't know if you can see it, was Nelson's Monument. I've done a history on that. Done a history on Nelson's Column, not Nelson's Column, Nelson's Monument and Nelson's Fort Nelson. There's not much more I can do up here. There's a couple of military establishments. I'm not going anywhere near them. Obviously I wouldn't be allowed in anyway, despite being ex-military. I'm sure they don't want me telling everyone what they've got going on inside there. There's always a smell as I come back here. It's a little bit like mothballs. Very strange. For those of you who have been in the forces, a bit like the old blankets, GS. They always had a smell about them. It is lovely up here, and once you get a bit further up, you get this beautiful view across the Portsmouth, and I'll take a couple of photographs, which I'll put up here now. But it is glorious. Oh, it's a bit misty down there. You can just see it to my right now. Well, I can. I doubt you can, but I can. You're on my chest, by the way. So I turn my head, but you don't go with it. Alright, fella, stay on your own side. So yeah, it doesn't take long to get up here, to be honest with you. It's one of those little rides that's pleasant but short. And when I'm done up here, I'll probably go around the back, take a little ride up to Wickham and stuff, and then go back down to Lee for a cuppa. But anyway, I'm just going to let you enjoy the scenery. I'm going to go quiet, and I'm going to put in the history very shortly, so enjoy. As I mentioned earlier, this short history is on the Montgomery Motorcycle Company. It was formed by William Montgomery in 1892, and they started off, like many motorbike companies did, as a bicycle company in Bury St Edmunds. And it wasn't until 1905 that they made their first motorbike. The firm first took up manufacturing in 1904, and I suppose the first year was designing, fettling and testing before the first bike saw their customers. They stayed in Bury St Edmunds until 1911. 1905, the company, from a motorbike point of view, mostly concentrated on sidecars and were credited with the invention of the sidecar. Their first motorcycle, which was produced in 1913, had a 5 horsepower V-twin engine and a wickerwork sidecar body that could allegedly be detached in 2 minutes. Connection to the machine was flexible on some models, thus allowing them to bank for corners. One advertisement showed a sidecar fitted to each side of the motorcycle, one for your wife and one for the children. Around 1909, Bill Montgomery moved his business to Queen Street, Coventry, with the works at Frith Street. Design improvements include sprung sidecar wheels, child sidecars for cycles, and coach-built bodies replacing wickerwork. Sidecars continued on their main business with motorcycles built from proprietary parts as a sideline to complement sidecar manufacturer. In 1911, the company moved to Frith Street and remained there for the duration of production. Most machines were either bought in or constructed from bought-in components fitted in the firm's frame. Up to World War I, Montgomery focused on machines for sidecar use with engines from the likes of Jap and Coventry Victor. In 1913, later that year, the company introduced a motorcycle fitted with a Coventry Victor 689cc flat twin engine designed by W.A. Weaver of the Coventry Victor Motor Company. That was intended for sidecar use. Transmission was unusual as it was by direct belt to 3-speed hub taken from the large pulley mounted on the camshaft. The frame had duplex members around the engine and was fitted with biflex forks. In 1915, the engine sizes increased to 708cc, but the other features remained unchanged. The other companies at the time, production more or less ceased, and they turned their hands to helping out the war effort. After the war, they built up their motorcycle trade with an extensive range of models using proprietary engines, including Villiers, Jap, Mag, Coventry Victor and Anzani, ranging from 147cc to 1000cc. Post-war, the company changed direction and began to build up a range of models from 147cc 2-strokes to a 996cc V-twin in various forms. They also built a proprietary front fork that they used in their own big twins. They also sold it to other firms such as Brough Superior and Coventry Eagle. They also began to use overhead valve engines bought in from Anzani or Jap, and although they were well-made machines, they were always inexpensive. In 1925, fire destroyed the works, halting production, but Montgomery bounced back with a large range of models for a small-scale maker. From new premises in Leicester Causeway, Coventry, among their component designs was a leaf-sprung front fork on Indian style, which was bought by rival makers Coventry Eagle. Sidecar manufacturers ended in 1930, and then in the 30s, selected motorcycles were given dog names like Terrier, Bulldog, Greyhound and Retriever, but these didn't code for the specific model. Thus, the Greyhound covered models from 250 to 500cc and the Terrier from 98 to 600cc. Also, the model names changed from year to year. Example, the 250cc overhead valve Jap engine model was a Greyhound in 1933 and 34. It became the Terrier in 1935 and 36, and back to the Greyhound again in 1937, when the Terrier through to World War II, with the Retriever adding an additional 250cc model in 1938. A bombing attack during the early World War II destroyed the Montgomery works, and this time they didn't pick up the pieces. So despite some strange model modifications policy, their motorbikes were well built and make a good buy for the vintage and pre-World War II enthusiast who wants something different. Although rare, models do turn up for sale both in the UK and abroad, as they were exported to a number of former British Commonwealth countries. That's it for this week's history. A short one, I know, but interesting all the same. I'm sorry about the lack of photographs. I trawled the internet to try and find some more, but they're just not there. But I hope you enjoyed it all the same. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you again next week sometime, whenever this next one comes out. Until then, be safe, take care and ride safe.